Hello again. You are listening to Is This Strange? Stories of the Unusual by KL and Roxy. So, last episode, we were talking about this really neat house that we moved into in Pennsylvania. And I know we said that interesting things started happening right away, but we didn't really go into the details. We were just talking about how it was very comfortable. It felt like it was, welcoming you home, but not in like the rose red type way of welcoming you home, where you could never leave. But it was a very welcoming house, and it's not because it was 100-year-old house or anything like that. It was actually quite drafty. Well, that first winter was very cold, so it was actually a drafty house and stuff.
Yeah, it had no improvements.
No.
It still had the old
So
yeah.
So when I say it felt welcoming, it was literally like the spirit of the house felt welcoming more than just the bones of the house.
Well, it helped that it was actually the water was fed by a spring that came right out of the ground. That was
You've
really
always
cool.
been obsessed with that. Yes.
That was so
we had a
awesome.
spring. It was a very nice spring.
That was so awesome.
But I'm just saying. And it never even went through a filter. It just came straight into the house and we drank it.
Yeah, it was
So
awesome.
it wasn't even filtered. Kind of like now here with our well water.
Yeah.
We don't filter that shit either.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons, though, why I say things started happening immediately. Okay, so we moved in. Roxy probably immediately had to go to work. I think we had to move in on a weekend, and you probably had to work or we had to move in during the week, and you worked weekends.
I was always working between having to support a house up there and then the house down in North Carolina, too.
Okay, so one of the ways, to me, that things started happening right away, because most of it happened to me. She would get the occasional smell or something, like I said, this tobacco, but I was the one that was home at night, and it wasn't scary. And I don't normally like I've never liked going into the bedrooms, things like that at night I will sleep on a couch if I'm by myself. That's just who I am. But I would fall asleep like on the couch or something like that, because I would normally stay up to go for a bike ride in the mornings and meet you down, meet you down in Baltimore. So I would just maybe doze on the couch or something, or work on writing, things like that. But if I was dozing on the couch, all of a sudden I would smell lavender, but not like fresh lavender that you smell out in your yard or something. This was definitely a lavender perfume. And then something would stroke my hair.
It was really freaky.
It was like, how your grandma or something like that would lean over you and you would smell her perfume, and then she would stroke the hair off of your forehead. That is what was happening. And that started happening immediately. Now, the first time was a little freaky because I'm like, is there a spider in my hair? I'm like brushing my hair. I'm trying to figure out what's in my hair.
That's funny.
And then it's like, there's nothing there. But I know that none of these spirits were
hostile.
Yeah, because the dogs and the cats, everything was perfectly calm and happy in that house. The dogs were fine. They didn't care. The cats were cats. We even ended up picking an extra one up because she came to us.
Yeah, that's how we ended up with Morris.
Okay, but
that's another story.
And not for this.
No. Might explain why he's a weirdo, though. You never know.
He grew up in a haunted house.
Grew up in a haunted house. That's right.
So it was like you would have it felt like a grandmotherly figure was like brushing my hair aside. And then at like random times, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I would smell vanilla and cookies. Like vanilla and cookies were being made. Of course, ghost cookies, never saw them. Gluten issues, couldn't eat them even if I had seen them. So
yeah,
but you would smell them.
It smelled like somebody was baking cookies and cake and
Yeah, like
yummy
the
stuff like that.
yeah,
Tasty treats. Yeah.
all that good stuff that I can't even eat now.
Yeah.
But it smelled
It
wonderful.
did.
And you have to realize, again, this wasn't the house because honestly, when we first moved into the house, it was really quite stagnant.
Yeah.
We had to open up windows and stuff. The house had a very stagnant, hadn't been occupied in a long time smell to it.
You mean having to get the paint off the windows so they would open?
Yeah, that too.
They had the original windows in there with all the wavy glass. It was horribly insulated
Yes, it
for
was.
being up there in the snow. It was really bad. So,
So that was just one of the things was this friendly older spirit woman that acted like a grandmother. She would want to make you treats and she would brush the hair off of your forehead if you were sleeping. Like, I don't know if you weren't supposed to be sleeping on the couch and she was trying to wake you, well, me, or if it was just what grandmothers do,
mm.
you know. So that was just one instance that happened in this house. And you know what? I don't have to go to 10 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and say thank you for joining us. And I will tell you more instances in the next podcast.
When it starts to get really interesting more.
Well, yeah, it's all relation, right? All right. Join me for the next podcast, and I will talk to y'all later.
Bye.